Jack It Off Podcast, episode something.
17.
17.
We're dead set on it being 17.
Yeah, okay. Well, then that's what it is. Even if there's two 17s, we're going to keep it at 17. So, since episode 16, it's been, what is it, 2 weeks now?
Yeah.
This weekend, I unfortunately had my had my parents over, so that's why we couldn't record this. We're talking about this is the special edition Labor Day episode.
Get a job, you fucking bum.
Get a job, you dirty hippies.
That's what we celebrate on Labor Day, right?
Yeah, it's for those people that have jobs that want to lord it over all of those unemployed fucks that are standing in line across America. Here's to you, unemployed people. We get the day off, and you have a day off every goddamn day. I kind of sounded like the Budweiser commercial. So here's to you, Mr. Unemployed piece of garbage. We have jobs so that you don't have to. So with you get the you get all the bank and federal holidays because you're a federale or a state, whatever it is you do. If that's federal or state, I don't know.
Yeah, actually, as of right now, I'm getting paid to do this because my start time is at 2:30. So
now that's gonna really put the numbers through the roof on the net worth for the podcast. Like, you know how they have the things of Beauty Pie or Joe Rogan or whatever. What is it? How much do they make on that podcast? And it's like, well, if you roll in the fact that sometimes Dillon will do a podcast on his day off, and if it's vacation holiday time, he's getting paid for it, and he's getting holiday pay. The Christmas podcast alone will net us like what, $200? Boom.
Yeah, unfortunately, that's all. That's the only net worth.
Yeah, we don't. We make 35 cents off the podcast, and that's on a good day.
35 cents. Where are you getting those?
That was the early numbers. That
wasn't even the early numbers. We're making a nickel.
A nickel. Maybe I was thinking of the views.
Yeah.
Oh wait, no.
That's too high too.
1 cent per view. If it was 1 cent per view, I think we'd be okay. So, right at the drop, I think you piqued my interest with your travel story, the first of its kind.
First
on the podcast.
Dillon left his house. He went traveling. Boom, ticka boom, ticka boom, ticka boom, boom, ticka boom, ticka boom, ticka boom.
Air horns. Beep, 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 beep.
And where did his car stop? But Sesame Place in Pennsylvania.
Oh, that's where it was. Where dreams come true.
I fucking hate driving through Pennsylvania, though. It's the worst.
Oh my god, it is so pissing boring.
Yeah, it's boring, but at least it's not a terrible drive until you get to Philadelphia, and there's like that 8-lane highway where you don't know what the fuck's going on. Yeah, that was fun the first time I drove there, but this, I didn't have to worry about that. So I got to hang out with Elmo and Cookie Monster, and Big Bird was there, and Oscar the Grouch was there, and the Count was there.
Turns out all I did was take a lot of drugs and go out onto my lawn. So you got to hang out with all of your childhood friends.
Yeah.
Who was there?
What do you mean, who was there?
Besides the childhood friends, who went?
Oh, it was just my mom and my niece.
Oh, so okay. I thought it was it just seemed like the way you're describing it was like way more people than that. I never got any pictures of anybody though. You're just taking pictures of shit that you wanted me to buy. Hey, look at this. Hey, look at this.
Yeah. We really just went just so my niece, who's like 2.5, can ride some rides. So I had to ride all the rides with her.
Is that is the park centric to, obviously park centric to kids, but like, is it more, because there's probably not a park I could think of where you could take a kid that little to it and they would, get something out of it or whatever. It's typically like 7 and above, or maybe even.
Nah, this place, I want to say there's maybe 3 rides
that would be more for like a 10,
that you actually had to
year
be a certain height to get on.
old. Right.
All the other ones,
I mean, this
all
whole
the other
place is
ones
built
are, yeah, all the other ones are as long as you have someone over this height and over 14 or whatever it is, then you can ride it. I checked both those boxes, by the way, so I got to ride the carousel.
Oh, it's kind of funny that it's the carousel. I mean, yeah, the only way I guess you'd be able to
the
do a
carousel. No, the carousel. It wasn't one of. That was one of the anyone can ride it.
I'm sure they had the one, like a lot of times with carousels, in order to get littler kids in there, I think they have the bench seats.
Yeah, they had those, but you could like clip on. Now they got like basically like little clip belts, and then the person who's riding with them has to like stand next to them and hold them up.
Okay. So I guess they have, they would be dumb not to design an experience around these kids, but it just seems kind of weird that you'd be able to bring a kid that's that little to a park, and actually for them to have some sort of experience with it. You know what I mean? Like that's
most of the park, like there's a pretty big water park area there.
Right.
And that's got all the, like you think of like the kid centric, like
right,
the small sprinklers and shit like that. It's got a bunch of that, and it's got a big count castle that does the bucket dump. It's the theme is the count, so like they have one of those, and they got the big water slides for the bigger kids, but. And like a little wave pool.
So it is okay. So it does have a somewhat integrated environment. I feel like at Sesame Street's one of those things that doesn't particularly cover like. It's not like Disney. Disney covers this like extremely large subset of people, which is why they're successful. But with Sesame Street, it feels like it's like this range, and then it stops, and then it starts up again. At a certain age, because it's either that you remember it from your childhood and you're nostalgic about it, or you're the kid that falls into the category of the themes that they're discussing on the show are really only applicable in a way to like the kids that are 1 to 7 maybe at the top. I don't know. Sorry about that.
But even like the park itself. You get like there's a roller coaster there. And it's it's like Super Grover's Vapor Trail it's called, and it's not like a crazy
Vape Nation.
It's not like a crazy roller coaster. Like it's not chain driven. It's all like so you just kind of shoot up the hill, and then it's one of those like spiral down the hill type things. You know
it's just fed by momentum, right?
Yeah. So there's no chain. Right. It's just like a quick little roller coaster.
Kind of like that one that
the
you
one
used
at
to
Lake
do
George.
At the state. Yes, yep.
You know the was the minecart?
Yeah.
The cannon blaster, where you're in the minecarts.
There's that, and then I know that there was a caterpillar one that I remember they used to bring.
No, this is bigger than the caterpillar one.
Okay. But I'm sure they probably had something like that too.
No, they didn't. Surprisingly, really? Yeah.
That's one of those things that I always find is pivotal to like either like the traveling carnival or like one of those kids type places where it's like it's just that roller coaster that just goes like this around in a circle. It goes up and down.
They had other rides that basically did the same thing. Like I rode one that was Oscar's rocket ship garbage cans or whatever, and you basically
so far the two fucking titles that you told me for these rides make it sound like they should be like the size of my house rather than like just some little thing. It's like Grover's big ass vaping fucking Vapetron 4000 roller coaster.
The roller coaster, honestly, it looked fun, but I didn't ride it because I wasn't about to get on a ride without my niece. Like she couldn't ride it. Like I was there. The lines were long enough. Hey, Uncle Dillon's gonna go ride the roller coaster.
See you later, honey. I'm gonna get on the old roller coaster. Go get some Dippin' Dots or something.
Oh man, this is awesome.
She's crying at this second.
What was I saying?
You were talking about
the Oscar's garbage can, the caterpillar type thing. So you're basically in a rocket ship that's made out of a garbage can, and like when you go around the corner, it kind of like scoots up just a little bit and gives like whips you around the corner. So like they had stuff that goes in circles. They don't need the caterpillar ride or whatever.
How big was this place?
It's not huge.
Is it the size of like Darien Lake, or is it the size?
It's smaller than that.
Oh, really? Okay,
Yeah,
because it seems like what you're talking about was kind of over a like, I don't know, pretty decently large area, but it was more.
It's decently large, but it's kind of compact. Like there's not much. There's a lot to do, but it's in a smaller area, which kind of doesn't lend itself when there's tons of kids running around. But at the same time,
my God, yeah.
it's 4 kids, so you want everything close together. You don't want to be walking from one end to
put your kids on a damn trolley and
so
for 6 miles.
Everything's kind of compact.
Okay.
Like there's a decent amount of stuff to do. There's like the shows, of course, because it's Sesame Place. So
what are they running them like the Batman ones at Darien Lake? They do them every hour.
I think there's 2 stages. I want to say maybe there might be 3. There's like I think one wasn't doing anything, but you got like the sign outside with the times on it or whatever.
Right.
And you and they run them every couple hours.
What a ringing endorsement for this park we're doing right now. This is, I mean, speaking of sponsors, I mean, we should be with the work, because I'd never heard of the park until you said anything about it. Christ, if we had more listeners, they'd be like, yeah, I think I want to go to that park. Next podcast, we'd be coming on Jack It Off Podcast, sponsored by Sesame Place. Fun for you and your family.
I'd go again. It wasn't bad. We stayed at like the Sheridan across the street, and they had a bus going like every half hour, basically. Just like drove you down, so like we didn't have to pay for parking or anything. You just go on there, they drop you off, and then you just wait for them to come back. What's
the retail type of environment here? Is it like a string of shops type thing, or is it like the things that are just like gift shops strewn about, or what is it?
Like in the park?
Yeah, in the park itself.
There's like a couple like shops running out. You have the main strip is Sesame Street, so you have the fake wall for like the storefronts of like
the
Big
facade,
Bird's house.
like
Yes,
actual,
yes.
Okay.
And every night they do a parade down Sesame Street.
That's funny.
And the parade's pretty cool. Like you got a bunch of people dancing. All the characters are in their giant ass floats. The Count's float is balling. Like it's like a black castle. He's all in the purple and everything. I'll send you a picture. I got a picture of it.
Oh my God.
Cookie Monster's in a giant cookie jar. Like everyone has their own float, and then like
that's sick.
They'll move a little bit. They'll stop, and then they'll sing a song. So like each place they stop, if you look around, you notice there's like speakers, like strewn about in the
ambient speakers.
Yes, up in the air. So like they'll stop in these certain areas, and then the music will be playing out of the speakers, and they're like dancing and singing along. Like I don't think they're actually.
And they kind of like hit it to like the Thanksgiving Day parade thing. They got like the roots along the way that they know.
So they'll stop here. They'll stop here, sing a song. So you're hearing one song, and then down the road, like another song's going on, and they just do that down the street. And I guess Friday they do it like the park's open later, so they do it like a nighttime one. So it's like dark out, and they got all the lights going and everything. So that was pretty cool.
Damn.
Yeah.
Appealing now. Sounds
fun.
Appealing.
I wouldn't suggest you just go to Sesame Place.
Yeah, dude. I mean,
unless you were going with a small child.
You got to find an excuse to go to Sesame Land. You're trying to get on Craigslist to rent kids to go to fucking Sesame Place.
Need one's, what is it? In search of one small child.
Yeah, you've been flagged.
Oops. I was just looking for a kid.
I was just trying to go to Sesame Place.
I want to ride Cookie Monster's cookie jars.
Yeah, already that sounds suggestive, sir. I don't know how much you're kind of digging yourself a hole here. Well, yeah, I just want to go do the vape, the vape thing. I want to go vape with kids. So good. Sesame Place.
Turns out I'm still afraid of heights because I was riding of one of the rides, like.
Oh, good lord.
Cookie Monster's fucking.
Oh, for fuck's sake.
His cookie jars, like, you go around in circles and it, like, goes up. You know, what's the Falcon at Lake George? You know what I'm talking about? What does it do? Like, it spins around in circles and you rise up in the air.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, is it this one?
No, it goes this way.
Is where you're strapped to the side of it?
No, you're not strapped to it.
Or is it like a bomber?
You're in a car. Yeah, it's like a bomber. You go around in circles, and like the whole thing lifts up and goes straight up.
Oh, yeah. Okay. So
this is a small one of those, and we're up in the air spinning, and I'm looking straight down at the ground because I was getting nervous.
I am ashamed.
And my niece is just staring, like. No, that's not her. She's.
Oh yeah, that's not her deal. She's kind of just like.
She's just stoic.
Blank.
And then when we leave, it was like the funnest time she's ever had. And you're like, oh, it didn't seem like you were having fun because.
You're more of one of these nostalgic people where it all hits you at once what you've done.
Yeah. So that was Sesame Place.
Sesame Place. Where fun and magic never stop. Where the fun never stops. Oh, wait, wrong place.
Yeah, it's probably about as big as Water Safari.
Is it?
For about size comparison, yeah.
Okay. Speaking of shit from your childhood. Get a little bit nostalgic. You ever sort of experience a... You ever experience a period of time where this is kind of the same concept as when you buy a certain type of car and then you start seeing it a lot more often? Like you'd think that drive one,
like Grand Theft Auto 3, you get in the Banshee and all of a sudden there's 100 Banshees around, but whenever you wanted the Banshee, you can't find the Banshee.
Exactly.
Okay. Yeah.
I've experienced a thing where I found, and this is obviously algorithmic in nature too, but sometimes you get into a loop on YouTube where you watch one random thing and then it just starts throwing you shit that is the same thing over and over and over. And what happened to me was, I got into this like revolving loop of like 5 people, like celebrities,
okay,
that kept showing up on my YouTube constantly. And the first one was Drake Bell.
Okay.
Of Drake and Josh fame.
Sure.
And then of course after that, once you get yes, it's gonna take some time to realize. So turns out, well, there's a few things involved here. One is that I guess there was some beef between Drake Bell and Josh Peck on Twitter, unsurprisingly. I don't know if it was like a year ago.
I heard of this recently. Didn't it recently get patched up, or like there was an interview with Drake recently that like they're like, oh, we're good now. That was just like a thing that shouldn't have been public or whatever.
That was one of the things that came up as a result of this Drake Bell algorithm fucking thing that's been happening with my YouTube.
Someone's hot takes on Drake and Josh beef.
I don't even know if I watched something like that, and to be honest, I can't even remember the first thing that started.
What's up, everybody? This is Dillon here with your big celeb news.
Some fucking chode like
your childhood is ruined.
It's like a bad. It's like a bad version of what's that one? What's the one guy that does the news on YouTube that's like really super famous?
Jason Derulo.
Anyway. There's that guy that does the news. Everybody, it's just like Casey Neistat. Everybody who does bad news bullshit on YouTube.
Philip DeFranco.
They're just trying to.
Jason Derulo. That's what.
DeFranco.
Philip DeFranco.
They're just doing a bad bullshit version of Philip DeFranco.
The quick
and
cuts.
You had it exactly on the nose. They got like the corner sting right here, and they got the lower 4/3 they did on Final Cut Pro X.
He talks about 100 miles a minute.
Hey, this is Steve Stevenson. Today on New Celebrity News, I want to tell you a little bit about, and it's like, whoo, just the guy on before they were famous is just like that too. So anyway, Drake Bell, Josh Peck. I know this is real riveting stuff, but I just have to
Josh
get
had
this
a hot Vine account. Rest in peace.
Did.
R.I.P. R.I.P. Vine.
He absolutely did. Him among others who had. I know Bo Burnham had a hot Vine account. I know Elijah and Christine had a hot Vine account.
That one blonde dude.
Yeah.
Who did the splits?
Fuck, I can't remember.
He was on a T-Mobile commercial.
Oh, great. Already you're making the case for never watching that person.
Well, Vine's dead, so.
Right. So there was some video where I did end up watching that video that you were talking about where he was doing an interview. I mean, it was literally probably a week ago that he did this interview. It's a pretty big interview with some stupid bullshit YouTube news people. I don't know what it was. Maybe it was a radio station or something, but he was talking about that whole thing with the beef and whatever. And then that got me down the rabbit hole of fucking Josh Peck's channel on YouTube. And I was thinking like
Where do you get all this fucking time from?
I don't know. I don't claim to have any, but there's some. I don't know. Whatever. So I get on this whole thing.
Is this what you're doing when you say you're busy when I ask if you want to do something?
Hey, you want to do a podcast? No, I can't.
Busy. I'm busy.
My parents are coming over this weekend. I got stuff to do, bro.
Dad, mom,
dad. Dad also. I don't know.
And mom's gonna be there, but also dad.
So, Josh Peck. He's got a shitty vlog that I was like, I wonder how many subscribers that he's got on this bitch right here. Because I'm thinking, oh, this guy had to have faded into obscurity in some sense or whatever.
He brought his hot Vine followers over.
That's also true. I thought I was going to look over the subscribers are going to be like 250,000 or 1 million maybe. He's got like 5 million, 4 or 5 million subscribers. PewDiePie's got like, what is it, 22 or something like that, or 21 million subscribers
probably.
Or whatever. Jacksepticeye, I think, has like 16 million or something like that. So the guy's got like a third of some of the top players on YouTube. And Drake Bell, I'm pretty sure, is also right up there too. Turns out Drake Bell has been writing, producing, and touring and everything music.
He's always been a musician.
Since
like even on the show, Drake and Josh, he played guitar all the time. The Drake and Josh Go to Hollywood was about him getting a record deal or something.
Yeah. Well, what's kind of funny about him is that, like, if you think about the original like YouTube or the original Nickelodeon and Disney Channel people, like the Miranda Cosgroves and the fucking Drake Bells and the Logan Pauls and all those stupid people,
Raven-Symoné.
They followed in that same pattern of what happened in like the 60s with the Monkees. People had a shitload of money that they wanted to put into creating less of a musical group and more of a commodity. So it wasn't necessarily like something like a boy band, but it was like where they took this one person and they were like, it was almost like they groomed them in a sense. We're going to take this one person, Drake Bell. He came out for an audition. He played guitar. The whole idea of the show is to try to create a star within a star, like Hannah Montana.
A Star is Born.
So they're like, it's just a weird, I mean, how weird is that a guy who probably would have had, I mean, he was a pretty talented dude. He could have had some sort of like career in music and maybe done it on his own or done it in a more traditional way or whatever. But instead, he was the fucking popularity of Drake and Josh kind of became more prevalent now after watching these YouTube videos and all of this shit. People still care. He said that, Drake Bell I'm talking about, said that when he goes out to shows now, he still plays Found a Way, which is the name of that theme song. And he's gone to like fucking Japan and like a bunch of, I mean, just everywhere in the world to tour on some of these like more obscure records that he's been putting out. I don't know what any of them are or even what style they're in. I guess he mentioned that he's like changed his style like 500 times. But he's been touring on these records and people have been coming out and they know every single fucking word to that song everywhere in the world. Could you imagine having that be the thing that you're known for forever? And he embraces it. I mean, how couldn't you? There's no, you have to. What else are you gonna do? Like you.
Hey, as long as it pays the bills.
Well, that's the thing is that like a lot of people, I see this all the time where like there's those people that get real pissy about their hits, like the
lead singer Warrant.
Oh,
He was the worst.
Janie Lane killed himself over it. I mean, that's the you named the guy.
What was that? The One Hit Wonders or whatever? Were like the was
on
it
VH1?
VH1?
It was the top 100 one hit wonders.
Yeah, where they had him and he's like, I fucking hate that song.
Oh my
God,
god,
like super serious.
That was so terrifying because if you think about it, I don't know how many years before he killed himself that was. But
he
even
didn't
if
kill
it was
himself
five,
though. He just can't.
I think he drank himself into a.
Yeah, he drank himself to death.
But
I don't think he actually like went off to kill himself.
I don't know if that. I really don't know.
He was more drowning his sorrows and died. You know, the classic.
The real good. You know, the real good true Hollywood story shit we all like. You know, that morbid like lower echelon of cultural bullshit we all love.
Yeah, good stuff.
That's the reason why top 100 one hit wonders fucking exists, to try to shove these poor bastards back into the limelight for 10 seconds so that they can suckle off the teat of that relatively ironic reality that they're in.
The one hit wonder fucking tours or whatever where there's like 30 people on the bill.
God. It's like, okay, that brings me. Nice segue, dude. Nice segue. Here we go. So the other person that's on my fucking who's constantly following me on YouTube or constantly not following me. I wish somebody would follow me on YouTube.
Yeah. Smash that follow button.
Smash that follow button.
Is that a button? Subscribe.
Yeah,
no, that's Twitter.
Yo, follow me on Tumblr. Smash that fucking tumble fucking button.
Hit that T.
Tumble over that goddamn T and
tickle that T on Tumblr.
Tactfully tickle the T, you fucking. So, Vanilla Ice, and I remember mentioning this to you because, well, actually, it's actually a twofold. It's Vanilla Ice / JonTron. Because of course, when I mentioned to you something about Vanilla Ice out of the fucking blue, which is uncharacteristic of anything anybody would do. He shouldn't be in the public consciousness at all. But of course, the effect of JonTron is such that he does, at least he used to have much more before, clearly. But now when he releases a video, he does it in such like, it's pretty much like Jack It Off, really. If we were more popular, it would be like JonTron. We'd release high quality, real classy content.
Good stuff.
Real good shit. Every so often, and then people be fucking waiting.
Frothing.
They're just sitting on their couch waiting. Yeah, they're frothing at the mouth just to get a fucking stupid travel story from me or talking about shitty celebrities. So JonTron did that whole episode on Vanilla Ice about the Vanilla Ice movie, which was crazy that I don't know about it. And I'm pretty sure he introduced this to a whole, I mean, I'm sure there were people that knew about it, but my God, pretty cool that he actually found something that very few people would have known about. But he was wearing this jacket. Oh my God. Is the greatest, most self-aggrandizing jacket I've ever seen in my life. It had probably like his shitty rap lyrics on it, and is like a black jacket with like white lettering. Oh, and he was wearing a fanny pack that said Ice in purple letters on it. Oh, mwah. It was like, it was the epitome of trash. It was beautiful. The reason why
That's gonna say on my gravestone.
It was the epitome of trash. It was beautiful.
He was the
Dillon
epitome of trash.
He was beautiful. I started then what happened was then I go down this rabbit hole now. Now all of a sudden JonTron's got me researching Vanilla Ice. Now all of a sudden I'm the guy on True Hollywood Story. It's like, whatever happened to Vanilla Ice?
He's flipping houses.
Well, that's one part of it. He's doing like the museum. He's doing the mansion.
Yeah.
Hey, yo, welcome to the Metropolitan Museum of Art. I'm fucking Vanilla Ice. Yo, look at this fucking painting behind me. Stop. Appreciate this art and listen. Ice is in the museum with art. Oh, what am I doing with my life? So
it's got that sweet audio tour deal. He just records audio tours for all the. They call it the urban audio tour.
You can either choose from Morgan Freeman or Vanilla Ice. For some reason, Vanilla Ice is selling out Morgan Freeman every day on the audio tour. It's a Georgia O'Keeffe fucking exhibit. And it's like, yo, that flower looks like a vagina. Are you seeing that shit right there?
I fucked that flower.
Yo, this one looks like a fucking vagina too. Why, seriously, why the fuck do all these paintings look like vaginas?
I don't get art. I don't get it.
And then you're just at the other end like, wow, this is the greatest audio tour I've ever heard in my life.
One tear
this
strolling.
Guy, I've never heard it explained so plainly to me before. I get it. I get this art now that Vanilla Ice told it to me. He told me to stop, collaborate, and listen. And the whole time I wasn't listening. Now I'm listening.
I did one of the three. Now I'm doing 3 of the 3. I am woken. So with Ice, I saw an interview with him on like the Dan Patrick show or something. I think it was one of those sports commentator guys, and he was talking about the turtle rap. And I was like, oh man, now we've reached total nirvana in terms of like feigned irrelevancy. And he's like Dan Patrick asks him about like, you know, the top songs and whatever. There's fucking 2 of them. So he's like, yo, so I didn't even know this, but like I walked into Walmart the other day and like I walked inside and they got a whole goddamn island there from Ninja Turtles. Like I didn't realize how popular it is now. All the kids that grew up with Ninja Turtles, like now those kids are like 21, 22, 23 years old, and they're like, and now they got a newfound appreciation for so my music is reaching a whole new audience right now. And I'm like, I'm thinking about it in my head, and I'm like, what? Where is this? Where is this insane popularity that you're cultivating coming from? Ninja Turtles, while at a certain point it will have achieved a certain resurgence, like in the, you know, some of the new live action remakes, one of them had a modicum of success, right? I don't think it ever reached a downfall. It was just always popular. The cartoon's been on for fucking ever. They just
I know that they've rehashed. But the thing is, though, is what he was talking about it like. How he was referring to all this was like he's still making money. He's still making like fucking like huge sums of money from Ice Ice Baby in the relicensing of the Turtle Rap. I haven't physically heard the Turtle Rap in 12 years. I couldn't have.
I think he was more excited of the idea that the Ninja Turtles are popular, and maybe they'll cut him a new deal where he could do the Turtle Rap Part 2 or some shit.
What's so weird is that, like, even if it were that, like, if he had been mentioning it that way, he probably could have phrased it like that. He just wasn't. He was referring to this as like, oh, this shit is so popular, I can't even believe it.
Well, like I'm saying, you don't want to make it sound like you're desperate to get the turtle rap too. You want it to sound like, oh shit, they're still doing turtle stuff. That's really cool. Wink, wink, nudge, nudge. You know what I'm saying? It's really cool. They're doing turtle stuff. Go turtle, go turtle, go.
Looks in the.
Go turtle.
Then he looks at the camera. It's like the links in the description.
I recorded part 2. I borrowed those rubber suits from the original movies. We made a music video. Check out my YouTube channel.
I thought that was like, his whole persona was so like when you watch the JonTron thing in the movie, he built a character. Like the whole thing is around this character. This like super weird, cocky, sort of creepy dude that is Vanilla Ice, and then like on this interview, the whole tone of the whole thing changes a little bit, and it's just he's achieved success on a level that I never will, but at the same time, it's fun to make fun of him because it just makes me feel better, you know. Makes me feel better.
Sounds disgusting, by the way.
Huh?
Vanilla Ice sounds disgusting.
In a conceptual sense, yes. It just doesn't. What it sounds like is like
an Italian ice, but like it's vanilla flavored, which sounds gross.
Either that, or it sounds like a terrible car freshener.
Oh yeah.
Now I wonder if he's tapped into that market. I feel like if he were to just approach
instead of a little Christmas tree, it's just his like haircut or something. It just says ice. Like it's like a back fade. It's a back fade and it says ice.
Well, let me write that down real quick.
Yeah, get that graphic design that shit up.
Fade, air freshener. I'm thinking maybe what you do is you do a t-shirt that makes it look like you're wearing a chain that's got that around it. That's what you do. You get a fucking shirt that has an air freshener like the thing that you hang from your windshield, but it's a Vanilla Ice air freshener. It's got the same fonts like the Black Ice. All right, we got a creative play here. Well, I forgot what I was saying before that.
Who cares?
Anyway,
I'm done with Vanilla Ice.
Vanilla Ice, son.
He can eat a dick.
Yeah.
Stealing Super Freak. No, Under Pressure.
A Super Freak. That was MC Hammer.
Same guy.
Well, yeah. Now you got MC Hammer on the fucking the Command Strips commercial. And it's so like I think they really actually made a pretty good case for having him on it. But it's like a person about to hammer a nail into the wall, and he's like, "Yo, stop! It ain't hammer time." And then and he's like, "Yo, use these," and it's Command Strips. And then they're like, "Oh, will it hurt my wall if I pull it off?" And he's like, "Hammer, don't hurt him." It's just a lot of like fucking
Jesus
like
Christ.
Real awkward shit. But they do it in a way that's kind of like Old Spicy. It's a little bit
Do they use Can't Touch This?
I don't know if they licensed it. Yeah, they must have. They might
because he doesn't make any money from that. I imagine he can't make any money from it.
There if they used it, it could have been like a bed on the. Okay. It might have been a bed on the commercial. I don't know.
He probably only made money from being in it because he
lost
that. He don't make any money from that song.
That's fucked up. I mean, that's fucked up in the sense that like Vanilla Ice still makes money off Ice Ice Baby because somehow he made it so that he didn't get sued out the asshole for it. That seems incomprehensible. But I just got one more person that seems to be following me around also. Bryan Cranston. I've seen like on my YouTube it's popping up, but he's got like fucking 5,000 interviews. I think he's on a press tour. I'm ready. It's probably going to happen. I'll probably see him on Hot Ones in about another week, eating fucking spicy chicken wings and talking about Breaking Bad.
Show's been
unless he already did, he could have done it. Well, no, he got a book coming out now. That's I think why he's on the tour. He's got some sort of book coming out. But I am watching Breaking Bad now. you can see the bandwagon. I think it's somewhere like way back, probably in like 4 years ago.
You're trying to
finally,
hop on it?
It went by way too fast, and now I've been trying to pull my own coach up to it. Can't get my horse to go fast enough so I can jump on it. But I'll go at it at my own pace. I've been watching it because literally Becky like pestered the fuck out of me for like a year. She's like, "Are we gonna watch Breaking Bad?" I'm like, God, what if I didn't like it? What? And I know this is probably like saying like you don't like The Godfather or whatever, like or you come up with some bullshit excuse like it insists upon itself or whatever. But at this point, it kind of does insist upon itself a little bit. Now you're gonna watch it. You're gonna watch it with all this with all this like feeling in your stomach where you're just like I have to like it, don't I?
Supposed to like
I have
this.
to.
This is the best show on TV ever made.
I watched the entirety, and it's so many episodes of The X-Files. And by many accounts, most people would attribute that show to being culturally significant in some sense, whether it was good or bad, it's still significant, right? At least you could make the case for The X-Files that even if it wasn't good at the time, if somebody thought it was schlocky, if it wasn't a very good example of sci-fi, it still had very good writing, and it still holds up a little bit. That's how I feel about it, at least. I think it still holds up. Vince Gilligan, of course, as we know, was one of the main writers on that series, along with like Kim Wong or somebody else. I forget. They've all gone on to write like really good shows. That was a talented writing team they had. Vince Gilligan, of course, being the executive producer and main writer on Breaking Bad, and I think actually the full creator.
Yeah, he's got creative.
He had a lot. He had a lot of credits on that show, and you could definitely tell if you go back and watch some of like the mid set of the X-Files when he became a more prominent writer. The cinematography, the way he shoots things and directs them starts to leak in a little bit. So you get some of the intro stings on Breaking Bad are very similar to the ones that you'd see on the X-Files and whatever. And what struck me was that I was so enthralled with the X-Files. I watched 1 million episodes every night. I was completely obsessed with it for the entire last winter. That was when we watched it. It was the whole winter. Then getting on to Breaking Bad, I understand saying this is probably the most egregious shitty thing that somebody could say about a pretty much universally beloved show, but I'm in the second season, 6th or 7th episode at this point. There's 5. They're about an hour a piece, something like that.
Yeah.
Or maybe 45 minutes a piece, including the 40. Yeah, they're like 42-minute run times because of the commercials and shit or whatever. So, it was a traditional network television program, it's a traditional runtime or whatever. I find myself during the first season really totally forgetting what was happening getting in the second season. It's not like I took a big long break in between either. I mean, a lot of people did. If you watched it on network television, they had breaks of when the show wasn't on, just like any other show. We were watching it straight through, and I have erased a very large portion of what's happened in that first season. And I think it really has to do with the fact that I don't think that first season is really that great. And I'm sure probably people could maybe agree on that point. But anyways,
I think I watched up to the 3rd season all the way through.
It's picking up a little, there's a lot of shows that I've seen this happen to where I think Dexter was kind of a large example of this. Weeds I think was even a bigger example. Weeds was a show to me where I think I made it to like the 3rd or 4th season.
Then it's deep into Weeds. Deep. I want to say
all the way down there.
6 maybe.
Wow. So you got to the part where it
8,
started
maybe?
to get like so fucking zany that now you can't.
The problem with it is they got way too out of control. Like it was believable. Yeah. Like they started out kind of believable, and then it got a little out of control. You're like, all right, I can hang on to this boat. And then the boat decided to do a backflip. You can't hang on a backflipping boat.
Do you know how many times I've been watching Breaking Bad where I've thought during the course of the episode, I don't know if it was meant to elicit this reaction. It might totally be on purpose. But they've made me ask the question multiple times, why doesn't he just blank? And it always comes down to those awkward situations where something could be solved in a much shorter period of time if somebody just did something. You ever see that in them? I know there's a trope that's called this. If you look it up on TV tropes, it has something to do with in a movie they try to create tension or they try to drag out a plot line by making it so that somebody misunderstands someone so badly that it basically fucks the whole plot for the rest of the movie.
I'm trying to think.
Do you know what I'm talking about?
In Breaking Bad? I know what you're talking about, but I'm trying to think what.
Well, in general, like one of the ones that always stuck with me was like in the first few seasons of the show, he's got the burner phone, but he's not taking good steps to try to conceal what it is that he's doing with it. And there was a million opportunities, like if his wife found the burner phone, for him to explain something to her that would have revealed a little bit, but wouldn't have gotten him into serious trouble if he had just said what it was. But he came up with some fucking cockamamie thing.
Well, you gotta think
that seemed completely illegitimate and weird.
This character,
right,
has lived most of his life up until this point just being basically a student of education, basically.
Right.
Like, he was a scientist. He went from working in a lab to working and teaching high school kids. You don't gain street knowledge, how to use a burner phone, how to lie to people, be a
right.
fucking
I think
Billy badass.
That was what I was thinking of right there, was the how to lie to people thing.
Unless you're a inherently shitty person, which by the end of this show, I'm pretty sure you realize that he is in fact a shitty person.
Right.
Which, I mean, he starts selling meth to fund his bills or whatever, but
yeah,
it
becomes not that later on.
Yeah, but he becomes more in tune with what he's doing. He becomes the mastermind of his own destiny,
right,
which ends up in the end leading to his death. Yes. I didn't want to spoil it. I haven't even seen the end, and I know that he dies at the end, and I'm pretty sure you knew he died at the end. That's why I wanted you to finish the old sentence there. I didn't want to ruin it for you, but at the same time, I'm like, I'm pretty sure Brent knows, and I've only seen up to the 3rd season, so
I do think it's a very smartly written show. I think some of the cliffhangers are pretty good. I just at a certain point in some of these episodes, I'm like, some of the writing decisions just didn't seem like very logical to me. But from a character development standpoint, they're smarter than I am. That's the thing, is that sometimes when you're watching a show, you then begin to understand that they're smarter than you. That since they've mapped out something in a series, they understand it better than you do.
They want you to like him, like Walter White.
Right.
And they want you to he wants you to be like the anti-hero of the whole show and hate everybody around him. But then at the end you realize that you were supposed to hate him the whole time because he's a piece of shit person.
Yeah, you kind of go back and forth with him during at least this first portion, where it's sort of you're starting to bridge the gap between the guy that you really want to just hate completely, and then Saul comes in, and that's sort of a balance to the whole thing. And I mean, they're smart.
His wife, she's fucking annoying.
Oh man, sometimes but
then you look at it and you're like, well, he's being an asshole,
right?
He's selling drugs and not telling you, basically putting your whole family in danger. Yep. Your brother-in-law is basically looking for your husband.
It's funny that they have the ability from a writing perspective or a character development perspective to paint his wife Skylar as somebody who you can hate, because she really hasn't done a large amount wrong. She's had some trip ups or whatever. She, I think she smoked when she was pregnant, and there was some things that she was doing that are just, a little bit morally distasteful. Not nearly to the extent that he did, but somehow you still find her annoying. That's talented writing.
Yeah.
That's writing that creates like this
somehow she's the bad characters. Guy when Walter's destroying the family and destroying Jesse's life, and
that is really that's kind of a more 10,000 foot observation of what people value in a television show, because what we want to love the guy.
The underdog story.
You want to love that guy. You want to love the dude.
He had a problem. He solved it.
He solved it.
Check out this meth. Well, Jesse sells it.
Dissolves it.
Dissolves it. There you go. Had to workshop that a little bit.
I mean, meth is called ice.
Blue ice, baby.
Workshop it. See, there's a bit. There's a tight 10 for you right there.
Tight 10.
Putting another spin on the tight 10. There was one other thing that I was thinking the other day that I thought was funny. I don't think it could be. I don't know, but there's a. And I don't know if I've ever heard anybody actually like explain it this way, or maybe I have. I don't know, but. Like, you ever find yourself like if you're in a quiet, you ever have that, you ever notice when sometimes I find myself, if I'm driving in my car or I'm in the shower or the quiet moments of life, like that's where you have the most abstract thoughts. One of those.
Driving your car, take a quick nap.
Driving your car, take a quick nap.
In the shower,
take a quick nap. So when you're in those autopilot moments, you're thinking about shit. And one that seems to come up so often, and I don't know why, it recurs constantly in my life is...
I wonder what it feel like if I put a finger in my butt.
and then you scratch your chin inquisitively, and then you just try it.
Not today. Not today.
No, I don't think.
Not today. I don't got.
I'm not ready yet. I'm not ready yet. I'm not ready yet.
Not ready yet.
I'll get there though. I'll get there.
I'm spiraling downhill. I'm almost at the finger in the ass.
Is this where your life's gotten, Brent? Is this really where it is? Looking in the mirror, is it like still thinking about it?
Do better.
You have to do better. You don't need that. You don't need this. You're a good person, and you don't need to stick a finger in your ass.
Do better.
do better for yourself, man. So in those quiet moments, I often find myself thinking, what is blank doing right now? And not in the sense of like my personal family members or my girlfriend or people in my life. I constantly think, what is Beyonce doing right now? And what I mean by that is sometimes you have a moment where you're so completely removed from somebody's existence. Like there are millions of people, billions of people living in the world right now, maybe in fact doing exactly what we're doing. There's two people recording a podcast, and actually the odds
I'm sure.
of them...
Have you ever seen iTunes? That fucking thing's littered with them.
And in fact, the nature of that is that what celebrity makes us do is wonder what these people do in their real actual everyday lives.
That's why you got like the spreads of like in magazines of people just walking around.
They're just like us.
Yeah, getting their laundry or
everyone's
sipping a Jamba Juice.
Everyone's familiar with that concept. Stand-up comedians have talked about it forever. You see it on sitcoms. You hear it talked about on, when they make fun of something like TMZ. This is one of those really played out things of like, oh, celebrities are just like us, huh? So, but the where I'm coming from this concept is, I want to just be able to peer into somebody's life to know or understand from an egotistical perspective, meaning you see this larger than life character like Kanye West, Jay-Z, Beyonce, the biggest Vanilla Ice, the biggest celebrities in the world.
Top 10.
Carrot Top, Danny Bonaducci,
Pauly Shore.
He was on Joe Rogan podcast the other day. It was actually very depressing.
Why was it depressing?
He is genuinely in the same pocket, but in a less delusional sense than Vanilla Ice is. He genuinely on Joe Rogan admitted to him that the happiest times in his life are over. And tried to do it in the sense where he felt like everybody would agree with him on this. He was like, well, yeah, that's what happens, right? When you get older and you lose relevance, you know what this is like, Joe. It's like, no, Joe Rogan doesn't know what this is like, because Joe Rogan's had a steady career in media for since news radio.
Yeah, but he's right. It's what happens. Especially when you don't try to, like, I'm not seeing Pauly Shore trying to do anything, so he's okay. I don't think he was like, you're right. That's like, I was like, this is just what happens, and I'm set.
He did.
Some people can be set.
That was part of it, but I don't believe that he is. What he rebutted that with, or what he sort of backed that whole thing up with, was him saying that, like, ever since Encino Man, he did a couple movies after that. He was advised by people to try, other than his agents, who he's very young at the time. And this is a story that's as old as fucking time, but he was advised by people to try to break into maybe like more, not serious roles, but comedy roles in movies that had maybe a little bit more of a higher profile, like, or something. Like,
stop doing the Pauly Shore shtick.
Right. And so he tried to do that with Encino Man, and that was kind of a good movie. People enjoyed it, but then after that, nothing. It was panned from a critical perspective, maybe not necessarily a box office perspective. He did Biodome. Biodome was a little bit more of a cult classic at the time. And he said after that, it wasn't that he didn't want to act anymore. Nobody was giving him roles. He was going up for auditions. He wasn't even remotely considered for anything, even if it was like the schlockiest comedy in the world, like a fucking National Lampoon or something.
Hey, those are some funny.
Well, some of them are, some of them aren't. He wasn't even being considered for the ones that weren't. So that was the thing about him that I found was very interesting.
He's like one of those guys, though. Like it just so like he was by himself. You know, if he got like jumped on the Adam Sandler like group bandwagon, because all those guys have like the same thing. They all have a shtick. Adam Sandler's got a shtick. Rob Schneider's got a shtick. Even Rob Schneider's like in barely anything anymore. But David
Spade at least has like the straight man. Straight man
that's still a shtick.
Yeah, I'm saying you can still get roles in sitcoms because you very clearly are delineated by your brand. You know, whatever your brand of comedy is.
It just so happened that Adam Sandler was like the biggest of that thing, and he played it right, where he's like, okay, I'm just gonna do what I want to do and bring my friends along with me. They're not gonna have to audition for me. Whereas Pauly Shore was like just by himself, like it's him and his shtick, and that only gets you so far.
It's crazy, the fact that Happy Madison production itself like became that. There's only a few of those.
Yeah. There's
only a few comedy dynasties. Like it's pretty remarkable that you end up with like one of them is like the Bridesmaids thing. There's one in there. There's the Apatows, like the Apatow crew.
Yeah,
there's that one.
I'd say like that's like Paul Feig's.
Paul Feig, yes, that's another thing.
Yeah, well, that's like the Bridesmaid. That's Kristen Stewart, Melissa McCarthy.
Yep. So there's a couple of those like acting dynasties for comedy. You don't really see and then there's the who did Anchorman? Trying to think of that guy did some stuff like that
Evan Goldberg?
No,
he was
shit. Well, at any rate, the director for those movies did
with like
a lot of that sort of crossbreeding and
like Will Ferrell and
Kevin Smith did the same
John
thing.
C. Reilly.
Universe. Yeah. So what the hell? Okay, so that
You're just talking about Pauly Shore.
Yeah, I was talking about Pauly Shore. Before that, I was talking about what is Beyonce doing right now.
Oh yeah, yeah.
The main point I wanted to wrap up with that was just that I thought it was funny that sometimes I find myself thinking about somebody that is the biggest, hugest star in the world, and like wonder like, how many times did they take a shit today? Like is it to think about?
Well, you can extrapolate if you assume that they follow a steady diet, and
they got that LA diet going on. They're real healthy.
So
healthy
their
shit.
fiber intake is probably at a daily percentage, and so you figure maybe 3 times a day, 2 times at least 3 times at the most, depending on if they got the appetizer at dinner.
You're feeding right into my hand. You're playing right into my hand. Because the kind of things that you just said were the follow-up to all the questions I posed to myself when I was in the car, when I was in the shower. Oh, I mean, and it also, maybe I think about the things, did Beyonce or Jay-Z or Kanye West or Taylor Swift ever do the same thing that I'm doing right now?
Taylor Swift's dead. She can't come to the phone right now.
Now she's Trent Reznor. Now she's Atticus Ross. Now she's a trap queen for real. I think about her, and I'm like
in the shower,
especially in the shower. I mean, at first it's those types of thoughts, and then when I finish with those,
then like, hey, T Swift, you want to get breakfast?
You're sitting at breakfast eating, and then your mind all of a sudden goes to Taylor Swift. Not in that way, but now you're thinking like, where would we go for breakfast? Where would I take so Taylor Swift, we're going to assume lives in LA. Right?
Would you try to impress her, or would you show her like, this is me, and bring her to Betty's Diner?
You'd want to do right
and get the Western omelet.
You know me. As a person, I wouldn't want to do the try to impress Taylor Swift. I'd try to be the guy that brings her to like the place that's good, but it's not number 1 on TripAdvisor. It doesn't have an air of pretension to it.
You found it. This is a place you found. You stumbled upon it.
Yes, very, very. Let's go to the hop best girl. Like going out, I'm gonna go out with my best gal tonight to this place that me and my friends found. It's like you're trying to stand by me, Taylor Swift. You're trying to show her that old town attitude you got. Like, I never forgot where I came from, man. So here's this diner that I go to. It's like, and then afterwards we're gonna go to the park. Then I went on. This is where I first went on the swings when I was a little kid. And across the street's a Dairy Queen where I always used to go with my buddies, and we get a fucking blizzard. That's what you'd want to do with Taylor Swift. That's the kind of date that you'd want to go on. And that's what I think about while I'm in the shower.
All right. Seal that thought up with a bow.
Boom. Tie it up.
Tie
something up. What's up? So, I've drawn pictures all over my notebook as I've been talking.
Okay.
So that means that I've run out of the thing. Oh wait, here's one that's hidden in all of my drawings. We haven't said the magic words yet.
Is the hot new music releases? We didn't talk about those. I don't even know if you listened to any of the hot new music releases.
No, but
okay.
That was so actually so maybe what I should say is this in following in the traditional format. You listen to any good music lately?
Welcome to the new segment. You listen to any good music lately? Bum, 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 bum.
Oh, nice Sting music. Cool.
Yeah. Did you listen to that new Taylor Swift song?
Not the new trap one. I haven't listened to that one.
Or the one that just came out today?
I listened to the boom 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 that the one that's like the first.
What the fuck is that? Did you listen to Look What You Made Me Do or no?
Yeah, is that what that's like the backbeat of that song is very
I'm Too Sexy.
Oh yeah, right, okay, now I remember.
Well, the chorus is I'm Too Sexy.
Right, I was not, yeah, because the verse sounds like it's sounds like dark wave, or a little bit of dark wave in there. The backbeat's got that dun 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 type of thing. How do you feel about that?
It's not as good as 1989, but it's I like the direction. Just the execution wasn't like.
Sure.
I don't like the chorus. It just sounds weird, and
it feels
not a good way.
Disingenuous to me.
Yeah.
It doesn't feel like if she's trying to be like snarky or weird or whatever.
Well, she's trying to be snarky. That's definitely what she's trying to be.
Right. It's weird because it's like there's some people who really know how to do that correctly. I mean, the first person that comes to my mind is fucking Nicki Minaj.
Nas.
That's the person who knows. She knows.
Nas.
the East Coast rapper from
he
the
had
early
some
2000s?
hot beef with someone else.
Those are I don't really think that. How many times has she done this? Where like she started off as the country pop princess, and then she tried to reinvent herself as the regular 80s pop Carly Rae Jepsen thing, and then she did tried to do a little bit of like the Lady Gaga thing with just being a little bit weird, a little bit off kilter, some weird dressings, and then now we're here at this amalgamation of like
it's
2 Chainz, and
it's a reasonable, if you look at it, it's a reasonable progression. This
Sure.
didn't come out of left field as much as everyone said this is, but it's just not good, which is the problem. It's not catchy.
It's also not very,
like, the pre-chorus is catchy, and then the chorus is just like, it's just her going, look what you made me do, look what you, like, to I'm too sexy, like, I'm too sexy for my, like, look what you made me. That's it. That's all it is. That's the whole song. And you're like, why did you do that? You were almost there. You almost did it. And then you took this weird turn for like a nothing payoff.
I think,
which, if that's what she was going for, she fucking nailed it, I guess. Good job.
Yeah, it doesn't. What it sounds like to me is like the difference between somebody who's expertly produced a track, in which her case is somebody not expertly produced her track. The difference between that and somebody where it sounds like they said, what is the generic formula behind this genre of music, and where can we buy the person or the software package in order to create this thing that is called blank?
Yeah.
Whatever happens to be.
That's how pop music works.
Dark wave, or I mean, and you think about it from like we've talked about this before, the outlier music becoming the mainstream stuff with The Weeknd and whatnot. But that's where this sounds like it is. Although it also sounds like it's 2 steps behind. If Taylor Swift really wanted to ride some sort of wave onto the next like item, she should have been looking towards the producers that are about to do it.
Yeah, it's really it's in the middle of what's coming.
It's a fidget spinner. It's a fucking auditory fidget spinner.
It's like almost trying to be like strictly analog, like did you listen to any of the new Nine Inch Nails?
Yes,
with
one
and Destruction. What the hell's it called? And whatever. Anyways, it's mostly it's all like pretty much analog synth shit, like
right,
no guitar, like basically no guitars, like
yeah.
So that like I'm trying to say, like they went full classic analog 80, like 89, you're 80, like 1989 fucking.
Well, in the same way the Pretty Hate Machine was created.
Yeah,
I mean, that's the same,
they went back to
went
back to that style. So like that's
right.
Still like in this song is like it wants to be that, but also wants to be something new, and it just doesn't.
It also sounds
land.
incredibly empty. It sounds so empty. And you know what else sounds incredibly empty too, even though it is a very good house track. And I mean, I'm way behind on this, but I'd never mentioned it. But Swish Swish doesn't have all of the right things for it to have been this big throwback house smash. There are so many artists doing it better. Like countless. I mean, Keys has been doing it better since the Jack U era. Like,
it's got a good like DJ Mustard style fucking synth in it. But yeah, the rest of it sounds like it just sounds like they just put a basic everything else. They got that bass line, and then they're just like, let's just fill in the spots with XYZ. We'll get X from here, Y from here. And the problem with that is on the rest of that album, so like Purity Ring produced a couple songs off that album.
Yes.
So they're at a certain level where you could tell this was made by people that know what they're doing. And then there's other songs on that album that sound like this was made by a
bedroom FL studio guy.
made by someone who heard Purity Ring songs and we're like, okay, we'll fill in the rest. Like, you can't make the whole album, so we'll fill in the rest.
Well, that's the thing, is that like if Purity Ring is on the tracks, they almost to a certain degree invented a genre that they're popular for, that they completely understand. When somebody tries to analyze what they did, odds are the production methods that some of these people used are like Eddie Van Halen levels of proprietary. Yeah. Especially in the case of like, you'd never see anybody trying to be like, or if they were in their right mind, I'm sure that there are some people that have attempted it, but it's like, who the hell is going to be able to create a fucking Deadmau5 track? The way he creates dance music and trance and all the, I mean, he is only in about 2 genres essentially. Or 3 maybe. There's like ambient in there too. He produces a lot of ambient music.
Well, it's just like every music. They have techniques, and that's what defines them.
He's just created a density of them, like in a sense of, and also a lot of it being very analog and super down to back down to bases, but at the same time walls of chords. I mean, that's the guy. Yeah. He's doing it. Moby does the same thing. I mean, Wall of Sound Productions, Trent Reznor. Actually, I mean, we were just talking about it. Trent Reznor producing shit. It's hard to do what he does. It's hard to make music with that much like dissonance and noise, and without it sounding like you're just putting noise generators on shit. Because I was watching the creation of the Doom soundtrack the other day.
Mm-hmm. The GDC
thing? Did you watch that?
It popped up.
I watched a little bit.
I just started it. Yeah.
Just getting a little bit into it, where he starts to discover what he wants to do in terms of how he's going to sculpt and create the sound, is so crazy, because what he ends up coming to the conclusion of is that he gets a sine wave coming out of just one computer. It's like an oscilloscope. He's just pumping one sine wave out on a MIDI keyboard, just the controller itself to control the sine wave, to control the frequency.
Sure. Yeah.
And he's got it pumped through 3 chains of pedals on separate. So he's got it at the top. He's got it at like a flow chart, a wire diagram. He's got the CPU controlling the one sine wave, and then 3 layers of pedals coming down off of each one. There's gates, there's reverbs, there's compressors, there's distortions, and they're all these very unique old to new pedals and things that he can experiment with. And how he created the sounds in Doom, they sound like guitars, because what he's essentially done is modulated a sine wave until it's so profoundly distorted, and in the EQ is a smiley face. So he's created a range of sounds that is completely stripped of the mid-range and goes full treble, full bass on each side. So he can turn knobs on these pedals and go like, and it changes the dynamic of the sound so heavily that it sounds like you're playing notes. He could be pumping one note through it, and all the notes doing is going da-na, 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 da-na. So he'd have that pumping through as just one note, and then he'd be able to go.
Yeah,
that's how he created all that shit.
It just like it's similar to a modular synthesizer. That's basically what it is. You get one way. Like a lot of people that use them, they just throw one note through, and then you patch this running through this to shape it like this. this running through this oscillator to shape it like this. This is controlling this for certain effect on it, and like you just end up with this noise that sounds like it's playing 15 notes when really it's just one frequency of an oscillator running through just circuits and resistors and this and that and everything else.
The interesting thing about what he said in line with that was that since it is just that, what he's done is he's created a gigantic modular synthesizer out of
pedals,
which is not common. Nobody would ever do that because they've built these things.
Yeah, when you look at modular synthesizers, it's basically open face pedals where you could just patch into different
and the knobs themselves, if you're talking about a pedal, which is basically just a scrubbable interface, it's just a range from 0 to 100 on the range of the dial. There's the guy right there who's got all the pedals on the floor instead of on the Euro rack.
Yeah, instead of on the board. Yeah.
Yeah, and he's just able to control them dynamically. It was interesting. I just thought that you would. Oh my God, you would.
Yeah.
This whole thing that he's fucking talking about is incredible.
I should watch it. Okay, back in it. We got a special guest.
I haven't done shit, so I'm just gonna be. I'm gonna feed you. I'll feed you guys with whatever.
Well, you never introduced the segment. We're back in because we have a special guest for the segment.
Well, I said, have you played any good games lately? Did I
No,
get blocked out? Maybe
you didn't say it.
No, I did.
You said you still listen to any good music lately.
I think I got.
I didn't hear it. I
think I got blocked out by the internet.
Oh. Well, I also listened to the brand new album. It's a fantastic album. It's great. I've listened to it. I've listened to it about 9 to 10 times at this point. It is the follow-up that Daisy wasn't to The Devil and God Raging Inside Me. It doesn't sound anything like their old stuff, but it kind of sounds like their old stuff. It's great. Listen to it.
Who's that?
All right.
The new brand new album.
Oh.
It's a ringing endorsement.
So. Brent,
play any good games?
Did you play any good games lately?
For the fucking 400th time that everybody's had to say it.
It's the hottest segment of the podcast. All right, it's got to be introduced
every time with like graphics and music. We'll have done it 100 times.
It's got to be introduced in stereo.
The only segment in the whole show.
Hey, we did before this. We reintroduced listen to any good music lately. It's really just gonna be we're gonna pick a topic and just say
lately after it.
Lately.
It's the Lately cast with John Lately and cast. Peter Lately.
Johnny come lately. All right.
So,
please
answer the question.
Listen, what I just tried to tell you before was that I had my stepmom and my dad over this past weekend, so any video game that I would have played was sitting out by the fire and smoking pot and drinking beer. That's the video game. I mean, it's like r/outside. It's like a life simulator.
Boring.
You couldn't have brought a phone out there and played something on your phone or something?
Couldn't have brought your Switch out there?
Come on.
Oh, wait. Boo.
Yo, the frame rate on this
disqualified.
fire sucks, dude. The frame rate on this fire is only like fucking 40. I need to be a solid 60.
You can only see it 24 frames per second. That's why
past a certain number of megapixels, the human eye can't perceive it. Fuck that guy who, like, you know who you are. If you ever listen to this podcast, and
fuck you.
You know who you are.
And fuck you.
I don't want you to hit the subscribe button. Don't smash. Get away from this channel. The guy that says that type of shit. People from Phoenix are called Phoenicians. That guy.
Well, that one's real obscure.
I've never heard that before.
Heard it either.
That's why that guy wants to tell it to you, because he thinks you've never heard it before, and he wants to lord it over you.
Did he just put like a more menacing light on his face?
Dude. like the fucking your light probably from your window, like the sun went down a little bit and we got some like weird underglow when you started screaming about some dude talking about Phoenicians. Hooked on Phoenicians. It's my favorite Leapfrog book.
You got real menacing light coming up from underneath your chin.
I'll hit like side profile. I'll manage my reflection. There we go.
Oh, he's breathing some color, and now you're like red.
Yo, everyone's gonna throw up the way these camera changes are going.
I'm just like doing those movie rigs where they got the fucking camera like out in front of you, like Blair Witch Project. And just like, I think the witch is over here.
You need to shake it up and down a little bit more.
God damn the future with their camera stabilizers. I can't get shaky cam no more.
Back when I was a kid, I threw up in movie theaters because they didn't have image stabilization and GoPros.
You ever see Cloverfield? I saw some of it. The other half, I had my eyes closed because I had nausea.
I had to take a Dramamine to go in and see a fucking monster movie.
It's like on a fucking boat. The mini haha. Those are some choppy ass waters in the fall.
Nice regional reference directly related to my surroundings. Mini haha. Lake George. Maybe make a reference to the Adirondack Mountains. That might be a good one.
Your dog's jumping on me.
Okay. Play any good games lately, Brent? No. Okay,
No.
Great. Andrew, play any good games lately, Andrew? Our hot guest today, Andrew, in the studio, here to talk about video games. Should we talk about Sonic first?
Yeah, go ahead. I mean, we both played Sonic.
We both played Sonic. I beat Sonic.
I did not beat Sonic.
Brent, have you ever heard of Sonic?
And here to weigh in on Sonic is Brent Pickard, a guy who's played it once before in the past when he was a kid.
Which Sonic?
I played, I had when I got the Sega Genesis, it came with which one? It came with
Two.
the series of Sonic, right? Or no, it came with 2. Okay, so I had that, and I had 3, and I had,
Knuckles?
yeah, I think I had that too at some point.
What about
Either that or
Shadow?
I rented it. I can't remember what I did.
Shadow
with
the
that.
Hedgehog?
I might have rented it. Huh?
Did you have Shadow the Hedgehog?
What the hell was Shadow for? Wasn't that like Xbox or some
GameCube.
shit? GameCube.
I was wondering,
I was thinking, Shadow, huh? Was that one like one of those shitty ones that came out later on?
Yeah,
I'm
it
pretty sure
was. He had a gun
Yeah, that's...
and soaps on,
Oh,
so he could grind rails.
That was hot. That was the hot thing for Sonic back then. Was the soaps.
It was Jet Grind Radio combined with Sonic combined with Grand Theft Auto.
Yeah.
Sonic was shooting hookers and grinding rails.
That's gonna be on my gravestone too.
Dillon. Will be remembered for shooting hookers and grinding rails all day.
But anyways, the Sonic
Mania.
Sonic Mania. Yeah.
A pivotal fixture in
Well, I
the
didn't-
now famous Sonic franchise.
I told Andrew I beat it, and then I told him I didn't get all the Chaos Emeralds. He's like, oh, well, you didn't beat it. So I guess I didn't actually beat it, because I wasn't Super Sonic. Oh, look at me. I steal my tropes from Dragon Ball Z. I turn gold. My hair gets longer.
I think the stew might be a little not. There might be something missing. There's something missing from the stew. Maybe some salt. Maybe just need a little bit of salt put in there. I think is just
Well, I
it's
mean,
lacking
if
a
you're
little
going to
saltiness.
beat a Sonic game, you could complete the levels and beat all the bosses, or you could beat it and get the goddamn Chaos Emeralds. Like the whole point of the game. Either way,
It literally says when you beat it, too bad or something, or try again.
yeah.
Because
Wow.
Dr. Robotnik
They really-
pops up
they-
with
they-
this
they-
stupid
He's like,
smile.
I got all the fucking Chaos Emeralds still.
Yeah, so you don't actually beat it if you don't
Wow.
get the Chaos Emeralds. Also, you
What
can
an
only try to
exercise
get
of
the Chaos
futility.
Emerald once
per
per save file,
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh, because you can't go back in
because you can't go back in there.
I didn't think you could
So
go back to the
how
episodes.
fucking stupid's that?
And they're hard as hell to find.
And they're hard as hell to get.
And they're the whole mini game that you do for it is very weird.
I found 4 and I only got 1.
I found I think I'm halfway through, just over halfway through, maybe.
What level are you on?
The green zone. After The movie,
the water
because
one?
they took the casino out, and instead of
It's a movie
of a
theater.
casino, they got the movie theater, and then after the movie theater is like that's the one I'm in. It's like it's like a throwback to the Aztec, I think.
Yeah, and then this second part, it was all the cherry blossoms in the snow. Am I thinking of a different one?
I think you're thinking of a different one.
Okay, whatever. Doesn't matter. I wouldn't be able to tell you if you were halfway through anyways.
Either way, that's where I got to. That's where I am.
Either way, it's Sonic, and
Yeah.
I guess it's good. I guess
It's definitely real good.
it's
like-
sure, but it's Sonic.
But the graphics are better.
What I don't get is everyone hates Sonic 4, which was like the last time they tried to do the throwback Sonic. It was like a new old thing,
scroll.
like Mega. You know when Mega Man 9 and 10 came out, where they came out on like the PS3, but they're classic Mega Man games. They tried to do that with Sonic 4. They had Episode 1 and 2. I bought Episode 1, and it's Sonic, and I don't
remember
understand
Say that
people.
the controls were very
What-
sluggish, though.
I don't know. I don't get.
It's a control-based game. I guess I feel like that'd be the only criticism.
Yeah, but it still
anybody'd
felt
be
like
able to have
Sonic.
for it.
I don't. I guess I don't have affection for the Sonic series where I can say this doesn't feel like Sonic, because they all feel like Sonic. You're all bottom spin, run, hit some spikes, lose all your coins, grab the coins, do it again. Like, that's how I feel Sonic is, and I don't understand. I don't get the difference between why Sonic 4 was bad and why Sonic Mania is good when they all just feel like Sonic games to me.
I'd have to play the Sonic 4.
Since
So
we're gonna
that's
keep this,
the whole takeaway I got from Sonic, is that I don't care about Sonic enough to be like, oh my god, they did it right this time, because it just plays like Sonic, and I don't get what they mean by they did it right. The boss fights are cool, but again, you get one coin and you just jump on the boss and juggle your one coin when you get hit. So it's not like a challenge. It's some of them are a little harder than others because they add, like when you fight Steel Sonic. I think it was a Metal Sonic,
Yeah,
whatever the
Metal
fuck he
Sonic.
is. Like he drops these little white Sonics and they roll at you, and you got to spin at them to bounce them up to hit the Sonic. So there's a little bit more maneuvering around, but most of them you're just jumping on the bad guys to kill them, and you just jump on them and you just juggle your coin so you don't die. And there you go, you win. The other cool thing was, the one cool part was, you drop down and you play around a Mean Bean machine against Dr. Robotnik.
That was pretty cool. I was very
That's a boss fight.
I was very worried
Yeah.
about that. As soon as that came on, I'm like, oh shit, I was not good at this game.
I'm not good at this.
Yeah, but I beat him. But that was very interesting. I was not expecting that.
That was cool. You wonder why they didn't add any Sonic Spinball. Like they made the shout out. They made the shout out to Mean Bean Machine. Why didn't they do like a Sonic Spinball boss or something?
that would've been
That
cool.
would have been cool. I didn't even think there's any flippers in the whole game, because even in Sonic 2, the casino has flippers.
Had the flippers.
Yeah, there's like you could drop down in.
Oh, I never thought of that as a throw to Sonic Spinball or anything.
Yeah, so basically Sonic Spinball is just that part of the casino level broken out into like a bunch of pinball games. But yeah, they didn't do it. They didn't do any flippers, I don't think, in the whole thing. But yeah, it's pretty cool. Like the level design is awesome.
Oh,
the sprite work's awesome. There's one is, what the fuck is it? Like a old western type map. Like the first part, you're flying on a ship and fighting a train. Like you're not a
Start
ship.
moving, don't be alarmed.
You're flying on a propeller plane. Tails is flying your propeller.
We're going on a house tour right now.
Great.
Sorry about this.
So
I figured since we're gonna roll mega deep on this, that I figured I would move myself into the sweat box as to continue our conversation.
yeah,
Now I have to arrange myself.
Well, I mean,
thusly.
the levels were way more in depth than any other Sonic. Like the complexity.
they
I
look
mean,
complexer,
yeah,
but
that's what I
it
mean.
doesn't like
I don't-
how
but-
complex can a Sonic level be?
But it just was. There's a lot of different.
You try to go fast, you get hit by an enemy.
You're
That's
doing the same things, but the way
It
they
just looks
design,
cooler? Yeah,
they
I get
design the
that.
levels so that it doesn't feel like you're doing the same shit in every level
Yeah.
when you are. They did a very good job with that. Like
once you get
you're
later
like,
in
wow,
it,
especially you got like that
you
ADD.
have to go.
You're like, wow, this is like everything is sparkling. Everything looks awesome. You're like jumping on this. You're going into that.
Oh, there's a later level where you're in like an oil field, like an oil rig thing.
Okay,
and you could get the fire power up.
Yep.
And like when you go down like the oil slides, all the oil lights on fire.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah. So like there's cool. Like it looks. I'm not saying it's a bad game, but it's Sonic. And if you want a good Sonic game, here you go. You're welcome. It's $20. Get your weekly allowance and just throw it in the fucking PlayStation Store. Download your Sonic game.
All right. Well, that was.
You have any more to say about Sonic?
No, I'm pretty sure we covered Sonic.
All right, Sonic's covered.
I didn't mean it was enough for me in terms of us talking about it. It was enough for me to buy it.
Oh yeah.
Well,
do you like Sonic?
Yeah, I really enjoyed it back in, when I played it. Yeah.
Yeah. So you haven't played in a while, so you I don't know if you're I don't know if anyone's itching for new Sonic, but if you're like, oh, I feel like playing Sonic, I'd say go for it.
totally.
All right.
Yeah.
And you don't have a
7 out of
Sega
10.
kicking around.
You gotta.
I give it an 8.
8.
I don't put numbers on games. Like,
Also on your tombstone.
my tombstone is gonna be a diatribe of bullshit.
I don't put numbers on games. I grind rails and shoot hookers all day.
What a disappointment.
What a disappointment. Okay.
All right.
Next game.
Next game. Sonic's out of the way. Andrew's got another
StarCraft.
game. StarCraft HD edition.
Yeah, StarCraft. You know the old StarCraft 1 new game.
Boy. I think I watched a little bit of the giant bomb just to see what it looked like.
It's beautiful.
Real pretty. They
Like-
all the high res 3D models.
Everything.
I can very well imagine.
I'm pretty sure I've probably put 80 hours into it already, if not more.
You could zoom in on the hydralisks spitting.
Yeah, you can. Yeah, like if you play single player, that you could zoom in now. Apparently, though, if you pre-ordered it, you got like some real cool stuff. Like that's like the Nexuses were like all pulsy and stuff. Yeah, I found that out the hard way when I'm looking through my
Some
settings.
hot animations.
Yeah, I was getting pissed off because I'm like, I got the remastered. Why can't I make my bases look this good? And then it's pre-order stuff. So,
They gotta get you somehow.
but yeah,
I didn't know you'd have to pre-order a 20-year-old game, but here we are.
it's just the same. It's the same fucking game, but it's just absolutely beautiful.
If you're looking for a pretty StarCraft,
Yeah, or just
open up that BattleNet because it's BattleNet again.
Oh, and it's free.
Oh boy.
It's free too.
Well, the HD isn't
Isn't
free.
just the original, right? The original
Right.
is free now, right?
Mm-hmm. And it's back over BattleNet, which is kind of awesome. So
Yeah.
you could play online again. There's
Well, Blizzard dropped the whole Blizzard launcher thing, and they're back to BattleNet.
yeah.
Okay.
So that's some hot gaming news for you.
Yeah, you could. There's a StarCraft 1 ladder again. It's pretty awesome.
Well. Good. That's great.
I got StarCraft out of the way. We don't really need to talk much about that.
No,
it's
'cause
StarCraft as StarCraft.
Yeah, it's the same fucking game. Just looks real good.
I did want to ask you guys about the change. This was a while ago, but since it's been fucking weeks. But of the changes made to No Man's Sky.
No, what about it? I want to play it now. I mean, that's.
I think that was where my aim was. Was it enough for you to reconsider playing it, and did you actually?
I always no, I haven't played it yet.
Okay.
I have not played it yet. I think I'm waiting to get my computer built, and I'm probably gonna buy it on there. It seems like a cool place to buy it. I don't know.
It's also cheaper usually on there.
Yeah,
no
I could
matter
probably
what.
catch a sale for like $20, but I was interested in it at first of the look and feel of it until it came out, and I'm like, okay, so it's just a survival game. I don't like survival games, so I'm not gonna play this game. Now they say they added like a 30-hour story. which
Wow,
seems
that's a lot.
like cool. Like people are saying it's a pretty cool story too. So
Wouldn't it just be a survival story though? No.
yeah, you still got that stuff, but there's like it's not just going planet to planet looking for like searching
okay,
stuff,
I
which
get
was
you.
the original game.
I get you.
Like that was the hook. Like I don't want to do
You want
that.
more. You want more
I want a game.
substance.
Yeah, I
than
want
just...
to. I want to. Well, a game. It is a game, but like I want like something to drive me through the game, and like just the same reason I'm not the biggest fan of Breath
Minecraft?
of the Wild or Minecraft, but like Breath of the Wild is like you could do this, but you're mostly just walking around, gathering stuff and doing temples and things. I'm like, I need something more. I need something to drive me to the end of this game because there's other shit I want to play. I don't have time to just live in this world for my whole life. All right, I got shit to do. I got limited time to play these games. Like, just get me there. Tell me what you need to tell me.
That's the thing
Which is why I like. Yeah, which is why I buy like that Hellblade. Remember I was telling you about the Hellblade last time?
Yeah.
So I did beat it. I liked it a real lot.
That's one with the crazy.
Yeah, the crazy lady was
Slowly going more crazy.
yeah,
as you
like
die.
the end of it gets real fucking weird and like real cool and like there's like a big crescendo to this awesome climax and then it ends and I like the ending, I like the beginning, I like the gameplay, I like the audio was awesome. Like so that's
I
now
know that
on
they
the other
used
hand
a lot of binaural audio for that to kind of simulate the idea that the shit was happening in your own head, right?
yeah, it was like going all around you. Now, so that was a $30 game. Another game that just came out was the new Uncharted game DLC that turned game, The Lost Legacies, and I've been playing that, and I want to say I'm probably halfway through it, and I would spend the $30 on Hellblade before I would spend the $40 on the Uncharted Lost Legacies.
Well, and now that we've already talked about Sonic Mania being a $20 game that's a rehash of previous games with better sprites and the HD, how much was the HD StarCraft?
15.
Yeah, 15.
So that's a real good deal right there.
Well, but it's
HD
StarCraft.
StarCraft at 15. Well, yeah.
How many people
it's
wanna
an
go back
old-ass
and play
game, that's
StarCraft?
A lot.
That's like a select people.
I guess it's totally a select niche of people
Yeah,
that are going to be getting
I
that.
played StarCraft, but you know, I'm not like frothing at the mouth to go back and play more StarCraft because there's other stuff to play. But
point
and
is,
also
well,
Uncharted is Lost Legacies is basically a rehash of Uncharted. Like you're on a mission, but you're Chloe. You remember
Right.
Chloe from was it the second and third one, the Australian lady or whatever the fuck she is. So you're Chloe on a treasure hunt. You gotta find the treasure. There's a big bad guy that's trying to get the treasure before you. Somehow you open this door, but the bad guys are already in this area, so you gotta kill them. It's Uncharted.
The same plot all the other games.
It's Uncharted. If you want another Uncharted game, here it is.
That's high praise.
But the writing is good in it. Like you actually like the characters, the story, and everything. I'm not bringing it down or anything.
They're never bad.
It's fucking Uncharted. It's still pretty great.
Never been bad. Well, the point I was trying to make about Hellblade was that for a $30 game that you got that much enjoyment out of, and it is a AAA title in visual appeal,
Double A.
Yeah, but it's like an indie. It's like an indie AAA. It's like somewhere in between. A little
It's a
bit.
AAA
Like,
studio making a double A game.
That's exactly. Yes, you're right. But I'm saying for $30, I don't think you could do much better for like if you're a story-based guy, if you're a linear-based story type of person.
Yeah, I mean
that sounds like a thing that somebody like that would really
the combat it's solid. The combat's solid, but there's no upgrade tree. There's no equipment pickups or anything. It's just you do the combat, you walk through the story. You do the combat, you walk through the story.
Have you ever watched the Zero Punctuation series with Yahtzee?
Yes.
Yeah.
He did Hellblade the other day. I watched it just because it came through on a shuffle when I was watching something else on YouTube. And the one thing that he did mention was that obviously he's so critical of every fucking game for comedic appeal that it gets redundant after a certain point. His critical lens on video games is like a telescope. But he did make one point that was kind of interesting was in Hellblade was the fact that since you don't have the upgrade tree, since you're kind of stuck with the one weapon you have, his opinion was that he would have rather just been an explorational game rather than something that tried to pepper in some combat for the sake of it maybe not feeling like a game.
I heard that from a lot of people. But
it's like, does it, like, it's was it a valid criticism to say, well, did they just put in combat to make it seem like a game that might have needed combat for it to be a game?
No, because there's plenty of games that are just walking simulators.
Especially more so now.
Yeah,
that's what I was going to say, was that
it added. So on the boss battles, the boss fights were cool. There was like three boss fights, I think. Those are cool, and they add different things. Like, oh, there's 4, but they add different things to the combat. So it's not like the combat was like just a thing thrown in there. They added like different like puzzle, basically like a Zelda boss. There's a way to kill the boss. That's just what you got to like. There's just
recognize patterns.
Yeah,
and
there's patterns and understand like where you attack and like how they attack. So yeah, and also you kind of needed it the way the story was told, because you are fighting your way through the underworld to try to find your like boyfriend's soul, basically. Try to save him.
Reverse
the
Hercules?
way you describe it makes it sound like the way you make it. It sounds like a fucking it's a JRPG.
It's fucking dumb. What do you want? It's a video game. Of course, it's dumb. Every video game is dumb.
Mr. Sega, we came up with an idea for a JRPG. You go find your boyfriend's soul. Oh yes, that sounded very good. You go find boyfriend's soul. Many big titty ladies. So you say you wanted big titty ladies going to find their boyfriend's soul? Is that what you? Yes, big titty lady. All right, I guess that's what we're gonna do. Anyway.
Yeah.
Hellblade, the next JRPG from a AAA, AA development studio.
Yeah, with 0 RPG elements in it.
Boyfriend Souls instead. It's called Boyfriend Soul instead.
And 0 open world areas. 0 open world, 0 RPG element RPG.
Oh yeah.
Fantastic.
That's what I like to hear.
Yeah, the new Uncharted added like this little open world area where you're driving around a Jeep and you gotta go around. There's like stuff to collect in this area, and then there's like the 3 spots you gotta drive to get the pieces to open up the big dungeon.
So they're still reining you in a little bit. They have to in the way that they're.
Yeah, but there's like a nice big open map.
Yeah, that's pretty cool.
Which is unlike Uncharted. Uncharted is usually a
very constricted map.
Yeah,
same thing as like the
very
campaign
linear.
On Titanfall. It's like you're like running through. It seems
a hallway.
like you're in this open space, but it's really just a hallway.
That, and the last thing I played was the Splatfest for Splatoon was this weekend, and I got some games in for Team Invisibility. Hoo-hoo.
What?
Right on.
I have so many questions. So what is
best game on the Switch is that your question? Splatoon 2. Was that your question?
What was the weekend? What did the weekend consist of for this game? Is it a new game mode or something, or was it a
Splatfest?
You're going to have to explain what a Splatfest is.
Because
it's pretty self-explanatory.
Oh, is it?
Yeah, I understand what things like when you're playing Overwatch, that it's the Halloween edition of Overwatch. Oh, I get it. But with Splatfest, it's just, that could either be like a Pornhub thing or...
Okay, so... Ingopolis turns into a fucking party. There's a DJ up top. There's laser lights. It's nighttime. This shit is bumping. Anyways, you pick a team. Each Splatfest, there's 2 sides. This was your what superpower would you pick? Invisibility or power of flight? Can I get an answer from either of you?
Flight. Well, wait, you're playing a shooting game, right?
You don't get the power.
Well, right. I needed to.
You just pick a side.
Invisibility.
Invisibility. Okay. Brent.
I guess I would have said flight, but
okay. Brent's on the wrong team.
Okay.
So during the Splatfest, you fight for your team. So you go into the Splatfest game mode and you play on a team with people that picked your like picked invisibility or picked flight, and then you play against a team of the other side.
Okay.
And then at the end of the Splatfest, like you wait a couple days and all the calculations come through and they say who won the Splatfest.
All right.
And that's it.
Okay.
Is there any incentive
There was a new map.
player to achieve any high scores for some sort of in-game
During Splatfest,
thing?
you get a shirt that you can wear that's got certain abilities on it, and it's also got the team you picked on the shirt.
Okay, so you get an in-game jersey.
You get an in-game jersey, but you can only do it, use it while the Splatfest is going on.
Okay.
Okay, all right.
What else do you
But
get?
you can also power it up.
What else do you get at the end of Splatfest?
Andrew's just still trying to be like, what sort of momentous occasion was this? There has to be.
You're playing for your team.
I understand that. That's it. It's just
Yes.
It's just for
Where
guts
are
and
the
glory.
boxes,
Guts
Dylan?
and glory.
Where are the boxes? I just need to know about loot crates.
Yeah,
boxes,
you don't get
boxes,
like a skirt or something, some blue high tops, that you could run around
No,
in.
there's no loot boxes. If you want something, you go to the store, you use your money, your in-game currency, and you buy it. You don't got to use any out-game currency. You don't have to chance anything. You buy the item that you want.
Do you get in-game money after the splat? Like if
Yeah,
your
you
team...
get in-game money for playing the game.
Okay,
Is it like double XP?
yeah, do you get
weekend
extra
type
money
thing?
if your team wins Splatfest or something?
No, but there's a different like ranking
Oh,
during Splatfest.
okay.
Your you get points during this ranking. So like at first I was an invisibility something, and then I was an invisibility fiend, and then I was an invisibility master.
Oh, okay.
Killtacular.
So-
Kilimanjaro. Kill it in
Fuck
the
you
butt.
guys, that game's fun. Just because you ain't got switches in Splatoon,
Listen,
I don't want to hear it.
you could just as easily call my criticism a function of me not having a Switch and me being a whiny little baby bitch about it.
I will.
Okay, I'm just saying you could absolutely do that. That is possible. I think I've kind of let go of the idea as of late, but they keep trying.
Wait
to
till Mario Odyssey
keep trying
comes
to
out.
Pull me back in.
Did you get a
Right.
DS?
Odyssey is where it's gonna be like that moment of like, oh boy, the bundle's gonna come out, and then
You're gonna see the bundle.
You know you're gonna get the bundle.
Well, the bundles are kind of pissing me off in the beginning, so I'm a little bit gun shy about that because they did those like zero value bundles at GameStop where they charged you for a bunch of like
Shit they were trying to offload.
They put a Zelda dildo in there with the Triforce on it for the Zelda pack, and it's like, well, do I really? First of all, where did you get this merchandise from? Why are you trying to offload it? And why does it cost like 3 times the cost of if you were to just buy it normally outright? It's like, do I really need a box of condoms with my Switch? I don't think I'm going to be getting laid that much.
Yo, they didn't do that with the Switch, but they did that shit with the SNES Classic. They put
I
pre-orders.
saw some of that.
They put pre-orders up for that, like in the middle of the night, and GameStop's website crashed, and it redirected you to ThinkGeek, and ThinkGeek had a bunch of shitty ass bundles with like the SNES Classic with a Mega Man blaster and shit.
Stuff they bought off of AliExpress by the fucking millions that they got.
Just
offloaded
absolute
from some of their
trash they were
fulfillment
trying to get
centers.
rid of. A SNES Classic with a Zelda puzzle. It's like,
Oh, kill me.
yeah.
Yeah, the case for me to what going on Andrew's thing, he asked me if I bought a DS. I didn't. Here's what I did. I went the complete opposite direction.
You bought a Game Boy Advance.
No.
You bought a Game Gear. You bought a VTech.
You
I
jumped on the
bought a-
bandwagon and got a Sega Nomad. I knew it. I knew I talked you into it last time.
bandwagon. I mean, I was telling Dillon about the bandwagon earlier, like how I was trying to catch up to the bandwagon in my stagecoach, but I'm so far behind the bandwagon that I'm going to perpetually be behind it forever.
You could stand up and take one step forward, and you'd be in front of the Sega Nomad bandwagon.
Are you telling me you got a flip phone and you're gonna play some Tetris?
Snake.
I got a Nokia N-Gage, and I'm gonna play some Sonic that I have to take the battery out for to put the fucking Sonic game in there.
You got a football, a little football game, the classic
One of those-
football with
one
the
of those
dots.
square ones.
Tecmo Bowl that you
Yeah.
play on the shitter that you leave next to your porn. You leave next to your Hustler mags in the bathroom.
You got
Play
a
little
classic
Nazi.
Game and Watch.
Yeah, I was just gonna say that.
So, I got pretty much what would be the equivalent of that if I were to make it, because I bought a Pie Girl and I had somebody 3D print all the pieces for it. So I'm going to assemble my own Game Boy and create one with emulation station on it so that I can play everything on a tiny little TFT display in the middle of my little 3D printed handheld that I'm going to put together.
Nice. I watch videos on people making those. They're actually kind of cool.
I watch videos on the internet too. Huh?
I bought everything on Adafruit. I bought the whole kit, and then I had my buddy get the designs off of Thingiverse to put on his. He bought a Monoprice Maker 2D or 3D printer. It's the smaller one. So what we had to do is we had to break the whole thing up into 4 separate pieces, and then I'm going to epoxy them together and sand them.
So it's gonna look like absolute ass.
The prints themselves are actually smoother than I would have ever been able to imagine. What I thought a 3D printer, like in terms of like what he was going to print on it and the plastics that he was going to use, I thought it was going to be like where it looks like a fucking rock with like sediment. Like you'd be able to see like every single layer of each piece of plastic. And I was like, I don't really know if I'm going to be able to use this.
It's a grip.
Something
It's
that
grips.
like feels, yeah, it's grip. It's a grippy surface.
It's like a Mad Catz controller. It's got them hot grips on it.
The prints he printed off on his, and this wasn't, he's probably only about 5 prints deep when he started in on doing some of these. He had
I've been 5
calibrated
prints deep
everything.
before.
Giggity. Printed everything off, smooth as eggs. It was all white, and then he printed me flexible filament so that I could create button pads that would go in there that I could actually press down and would actually feel good, like real buttons. And he used all the SNES colors for the buttons and everything. Or
You should have
not
just
the SNES
bought.
colors,
You
the
should just
Famicom.
bought aftermarket buttons, like from like some website for a Game Boy.
The way they designed the buttons for the Pie Girl, the way the interface works, they give you the PCB that goes on the back of it. The prongs that you use to actually like put the buttons on are different than a normal Game Boy. Like they're a very satisfying click. They're like super clicky. A little bit more mechanical.
Ew.
But you
Can't be
can
doing
dampen
dragon
them. You can
punches
put
with
different
that.
switches and shit on them. But the switches that came with them are a little bit clicky. But anyway,
Dragon Punch with a mechanical keyboard. Fuck out of here.
I got fucking my mechanical keyboard has like the blues on it, the Cherry MX blues, so it's like it sounds like a fucking like hurricane of clicking like every time I type something.
It's like hailing outside, hailing golf balls.
It sounds like hail hitting the window. It sounds like I'm at like an old school Daily Planet where a new story is. Hey, a new story's coming. Everybody on their fucking typewriters going furiously.
That's money in the bank.
Mechanical keyboards. Yeah. Somebody give me a picture of Spider-Man.
That's the Daily Bugle.
That is the Bugle, yeah. It's
Yeah,
not the Planet.
the Planet. That's where Soup.
Bugle.
That's where Soups works.
Yep.
The soups.
It's Kevin Smith's way of saying Superman in his adorable, chubby way.
Everyone calls them Soups.
Whatever. I wish I had played more games lately. Is really the
What it boils down
point of
to?
the seminar for me. I'm just
Hey, well, we
sort
can
of-
end this now and play some games.
You trying to play some Battlegrounds?
I cannot do that yet.
Why?
But I do not have a computer.
You can't start up the start up the Inferno.
What were you
The
playing it on
Inferno.
before?
On the computer that was then later discovered to still have the exact same problem after me trying to troubleshoot it. Although, in fairness, I probably could troubleshoot this issue a little bit further and discover the problem. It's probably a heat issue. Probably have to reapply my processor, get some thermal paste.
Nah.
I just haven't ordered it yet.
You're too far into a new build.
Well, I know that I'm far
Just
into
boot that
the other
fucker out the
build,
computer,
but
out the window.
Yeah, eventually I could maybe, if I could reseat everything, I could turn it into like a media center PC, but at this point that's about it. The one that I'm building now, I now need the processor and the RAM at the very least and I could put my old video card in it, and it would be perfectly fine to run most things.
Is not your graphics card the problem?
I don't believe it is. It's a GTX 760.
The whole computer's
it's
shutting
not
off.
that old.
Yeah, that sounds like a graphics card.
No, if the graphics card was the problem, then
the whole computer will shut off.
No, the display will shut off.
I've had my whole computer. If your graphics card is overheating, your whole computer will shut down as to not damage.
Well, not only that, but
But it could,
graphical
I guess,
issues don't degrade before shutting off.
Yeah, that normally doesn't happen.
I'm not having. Well, wouldn't you figure at a certain point with a graphics card that the issues would degrade to a certain point and then the computer would turn off? Like
not normally.
Your frame rate drop or your shit get slower.
I guess sometimes
it should if it's overheating. There should be a certain point between it not working properly and it shutting off.
I mean,
my point is that the reason why I'm building a new one is because of the fact that there are almost 3 different issues that could be at play at this.
Andrew will send you his 760, and then you send him that monitor that you wanted to.
Yeah, I got 760 for the win. That's like a like 4 gig, 2 or 4 gigs or something like that on that.
I have the founder's card. The not the founder's card. What's that? What's not the developer card? What the fuck is the name of the cards?
The founders.
That NVIDIA makes that are just the edition that
the
is
founders.
For. I don't believe so. It's the.
Here we go. We're probably gonna lag now.
Yeah, dude.
He's in the fucking side room. He's trying to Google something.
It's the.
Do you have temperature monitors on your computer to see what's overheating? Because I've had computers before where the graphics card overheats and it just shuts the whole thing off. But do you know if it's your CPU overheating? Because if you're just kind of putting a shit graphics card into a new computer, you're gonna just need a new graphics card anyways.
You want to hear the fun part about that is that when I put temperature monitor software on, and I also have it through the BIOS because the Gigabyte motherboards have it natively, so I can look a little bit at what the temperatures are before I even boot. It was giving me largely incorrect readouts. There had to have been, unless the power supply is the problem. If overheating is a problem, I was getting weird readouts from everything then. Because everything was at the correct temperature. And it was reading temperatures that didn't even exist from parts I didn't even have.
Like what? CPU 5? That's a core.
Yeah, well, I don't know if it was breaking out the number of cores that I had. To be honest with you, I don't even know how many fucking cores are in the processor I have.
What's an what is it?
It is AMD. APU.
But they do. But those programs do break down the cores of your processor and give you different.
Well, if that's the case, then each core was running at the correct temperature for idle. I mean, that's what, as far as I could tell. But then when I started researching it a little bit, people were saying that some of those temperatures for that program or some of the temperatures that you can read off your BIOS are incorrect, especially on this list of motherboards, blah, blah, blah. And then it just started getting more fucking complicated to the point where I was like, I could do everything on this that you would want to do. Like if I just started like replacing part by part to try to figure out what the issue is. But in order to do that, I would have to have the uptime of the computer be like in excess of an hour in order to test that. Because what was happening before was that I did a bunch of updates. I tried plugging in into different outlets. I tried to understand what was going on. And the computer would get longer and longer and longer uptime every time I did it. Until I would turn it off, leave it for a little while, like a couple days, get back on it to try to do something, off instantly. It wasn't even taking that long if it was a heat problem. If that heat problem was climbing, it had to have been going quickly.
What if it's your motherboard?
It could very well be. It could. That's what I'm saying, is that the number of problems associated with this aren't necessarily directed at one issue. It's like, oh my god, my computer's turning off randomly. You might as well just say like,
I would instantly go graphics card though. You should you should come down here, hang out with us, take my graphics card back with you, and see if your computer doesn't shut off after plugging that in.
Well, too late. He's already started buying a new one anyways.
Oh, okay.
What's gonna happen now is if I get to the point where I haven't bought it, like, whatever I end up buying, if it's like 1070 or whatever, if I haven't end up buying that card by the time I want to use the computer, I'll put the 760 in it, and then I'll know for sure because I built a brand new computer, put a graphics card in it, and then it will shut off. And then I'll know, oh shit, it's the graphics card.
Sweet.
Get rid of that fucking thing.
All right, well, that was some riveting podcasting right there.
Yeah, dude.
Brent's computer problem corner.
Yay!
La-da-da. For a computer that doesn't even matter because he's just building a new one anyways.
For a computer that doesn't even matter. Yeah, it might as well just be like my squatty potty when I'm taking a shit. With my feet on it.
Your squatty potty.
Oh my god. You people.
All right, cut it off.
Okay.
Cut it. All right, so listen up. This is the things you can do if you even ever listen to this at all. For those people in the future that find this underneath.
If anyone is out there, send help.
Captain's log, stardate 2036. We found this weird podcast from these 3 idiots. So, the audio versions of this podcast are going to be listed below. You can find us on SoundCloud, which is about to go bankrupt.
Nah, Chance the Rapper saved that shit. Chance!
Who rescued it?
Chance!
So, if you want to listen to Chance the Rapper or this podcast, you can go to SoundCloud, links below. Or, if you also want to listen to Chance the Rapper, you can find him on iTunes along with this podcast, too.
Also, he's on Spotify, but we're not.
We should get on Spotify. We should try to see if we could get an original series for Spotify.
Yo, getting on Spotify is real hard.
Call them up and be like, listen, we got 36 views on this Resident Evil podcast we did one time. I think our exposure needs to be on Spotify now. We got to move over to the new frontier.
Check the numbers. Check the numbers.
Also, what you can check is those buttons below, and then you can fucking smash them after you check them. Because that's the only way that we can make more than 5 cents on this podcast is if somebody smashes those buttons.
I'll never make any money on this.
So smash.
Keep your job.
Smash for the cash.
Smash for the cash. Who smashed for the cash?